Believe it or not, the Mercedes-Benz GLE, or ML or M, whatever you want to call it, has been around since 1997. It is one of the pioneers in the mid-size crossover luxury SUV game, being the likes of the BMW X5 to market by 2 years. It was renamed GLE in 2015 after being called M and ML before that, because that's more in keeping with Mercedes' current nomenclature. E in Mercedes speak is like mid-size. You can recall the mid-size E-Class sedan, wagon, convertible, and coupe. And so this is GL, Mercedes talk for SUV, E, mid-size, so mid-size SUV. And the GLE 450 you see here is a tech-laden thing. The spec sheet reads like the spec sheet of kind of like a computer or maybe a time machine, and we'll go more into that in a minute. But for now, the looks, you can tell it's quite a muscular looking thing, slightly flared fenders, cool spindle grille, 21-inch wheels, dark blue coloring. This is a really cool car. So join me as I take the 2020 Mercedes-Benz GLE 450 on a drive on the roads in and around Whistler, British Columbia to see if I can walk the walk. What a fantastic place this is to sit, really. It's airy, it's open. I mean, we'll see as usual what happens once you start going out on the road. But sitting in it right now, first blush, really nice. Great view out forward. Got this big, huge expanse of a dash here, which is mainly a video display. All the controls are easily in hand. These toggles they look cool. The print of them is a little bit small though, so that might be a bit of an issue for some people, but everything else is just where it should be. I love the door controls on Mercedes today. They look great and they're so intuitive. Burmeister audio here too. Silver trim work on here, on the window controls here, on the dash. It's just so tasteful in here, so tasteful, and that's what I love about Mercedes interiors. Good headroom even with a sunroof, and my bill is clearing the roof, no problem. Wheel falls nice in the hand. The only thing is, I'm going to start this engine up to see. Yeah, as I suspected, the wheel, it's either too high for me or it's low enough that I'm comfortable but have a little bit of trouble seeing the gauges. Just the top of the gauges, I can see most of them, but it is kind of the rim is kind of in my way of it, so that's kind of too bad. But otherwise, everything else here is just where you expect it to be, and I love it inside the driver's seat upon first blush, in the driver's seat of the GLE. As impressive as the front seat is, I think the rear seat might be even more so. With the exception of the fact that I have a little bit of trouble seeing over the headrest here, I'm sat a little bit low, everything else is great. That low seat position gives me tons of headroom back here. It's comfortable. My knees aren't too far up. They're maybe a little higher than I would say is perfect, but it's not bad. But it's, again, roomy back here. All the controls fall nicely in hand. I got a spot for my cell phone down here, plus 2 USB ports. Just great. Heated seats. I've got the armrest here with cup holder, not cooled like the one up front, unfortunately, but it's here. I'm comfortable. I got my own Burmeister audio speaker here. You know, easy handholds, everything like that. Soft touch materials everywhere, or else it's this really cool kind of wood trim here. So really, really nice back seat too. And I've also tried to fit my daughter's child seat back here, forward-facing child seat. She's 2 years old. No problem at all. And there's so much room behind the front passenger seat that she can actually kind of clamber up herself in here. No problem. There's a ton of space back here, tons of legroom. Like, this seat is fit for me. I'm 6'3", and look at how much legroom I have here. It's great. Seat might be a little on the firm side for some. And while it's not flat, there is some bolstering around my ribs here. It's a little on the flat side, but what that makes for, of course, is a rear seat that folds nice and flat with a single pull of this. Or if you only want to get one long item through, you don't want to have to waste a whole seat to do it, you could just flip the center portion here. It's a 40-20-40 split, so you still got both back seats here. I can flip that down with my daughter's child seat installed, and I can still put longer items in here too. So proper back seat in the GLE. Just look at this dash. Dual displays. I think it's actually one display split in two, but whatever. Each one controlled by these cool kind of touch pads on my steering wheel here. So if you go like this, you can now control what you're looking at there. You go through that, which is really, really cool. And then the one on the right-hand side controls my infotainment display here, which is another cool feature. There's different themes. Right now I've got it in lounge theme. You can have efficiency theme. It affects not just what it looks like, but also affects your drive modes too. I'm in eco mode automatically here. So that's really, really, really cool. I've got a heads-up display here, which I think is, I don't know how big it is, but it looks as big as my laptop screen, and my laptop is a 15-incher. So huge infotainment display up there that also changes depending on which drive mode you're in. I've got massaging seats, I've got wireless charging, heated cup holder, or cooled cup holder, depending on how you set it. Cooled front seats, all this kind of great stuff. Massaging front seats. Did I say that? I don't know if I said that, but if I did, whatever. Massaging front seats, and it looks great in here, but holy moly, it comes at a price. Premium Burmeister audio, for example, is $6,900, and that's on top of the $3,000 you're already paying for the premium package, which gets you Burmeister audio in the first place, and it gets you a moonroof and some other stuff as well. Then you've got $2,700 for the tech package, which gives you the HUD, the heads-up display, a 360-degree backup cam, which I'll show right here. Great camera, but not cheap. Like, awesome stuff. The comfort package just gives you the massaging seats, for example, $2,600. All said, I'm in it around 107 grand for this car. It is not cheap, but you do get a lot of kits. I can't think, and we're going to go more into what kind of awesome features you get. There's a whole suite of chassis features, which actually is so in-depth that I'm actually going to do another video on those, which I'm going to link to right here. Or is it here? Whatever. I'm going to link to that. It's a video on just these really, really cool kind of electronic chassis modes that are kind of doohickeys that really change the way how the vehicle drives. Like, this is a properly kitted, fantastic SUV, but you do pay for it. So all that kind of off-roading whiz-bangery is one thing, but don't let that detract from the fact that this is still an incredibly capable luxury SUV on the road too. And indeed, it better be, because most of these GLE 450s, I'm going to guess, bet dollars to donuts, they'll be spending most of their time on highways like I'm on right now, and it's still incredibly capable here. Inline 6 turbo power, good for 362 horses and 369 pound-feet of torque, and that horsepower figure actually gets boosted by 21 for short periods of time when you really dip into the accelerator, because it makes use of like a mild hybrid system that helps reduce turbo lag for one, but it also allows for just a little bit of kind of a boost in power, because I'm going to do a little pass here. And we're going to see what we can do. And it's got some good get up and go. I'm in sport mode now, which is, you know, a second of two sport modes, the Sport and Sport Plus. This is the less aggressive one. Still, though, great throttle response, firms up the suspension, changes the transmission settings, and so on. And also weighs up the steering, too, which is nice. And you have no trouble making highway passes and stuff, as I just demonstrated there with this motor. And also that mild hybrid helps... certain accessories that used to require fuel to be powered are now powered by an EV system, so it saves fuel as well. This is, and it's also super quiet here too, which I really, really like. I'm speaking in normal tones here, and I am a louder person, but I have a feeling that even low, more quiet speaking people, like a low talker. There's your second Seinfeld reference in a row. They'll still be heard in here. It's just so great. I'm not sure, but my guess they use some noise reduction technology through the speakers. I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of luxury manufacturers doing that these days. And so it's nice and quiet in here too. Very little wind noise. You don't have your kind of typical wind noise over the left-hand side wing mirror here, which is often something I deal with. So it's really nice and quiet and relaxing, and it rides well too. That road prediction system that we talked about before, it works really well almost all the time, but it did miss a few things. Well, I don't know if you want to call it miss, but I felt a few things I thought I wouldn't. There was a slightly sunken railroad crossing, for example, a little further back up this road, and I felt that more than I thought I otherwise would. So it's not like a 100% perfect system, but it's really good. And of course, when it comes to performance, you've got the paddle shifters here if you want to activate them. A little more kind of driver kind of involvement in the proceedings, and that's fine. But this isn't the AMG 63 version, for example, or even the 53. It's not really a performance version, but the power it makes is great, and it's got almost the same kind of, it looks very AMG like. It's got kind of those flare fenders on it, and I'm not sure, I don't know if the AMG has wider fenders or a wider track or wider rear tires than this does, but this tires are rated at something like 300, I think they're 315 millimeters wide. Like, these are some fat tires, and they need the fenders to accommodate them, and they look quite purposeful and wide, very AMG like. So I actually like the look of this vehicle too, even though it is kind of, it's Mercedes kind of yeoman vehicle. It's mid-size crossover / SUV. That is the kind of sweet spot for a lot of luxury manufacturers. That's the one they kind of have to get right. So you're never going to want to go too far to any extreme for fear of kind of upsetting most buyers, for example. But this is like a really luxurious, nice and fun ride, and so comfortable. I've got my seat cooling going on here. I've got a dual zone climate control up here, which is fantastic. It's just so easy to live with this Mercedes GLE. It's just so nice in here. There's nothing, I'm having a really hard time thinking of anything I'd want to change for more comfort. The seats are nicely supportive. While the pedal box is a little narrow for my knees, at least my knees aren't hitting something uncomfortable. They're hitting nice soft leather here. They've somehow made it so the stitching, which is somewhat raised, doesn't affect the skin on my knee, which is great. And I'm wearing shorts too, and it's no problem. Like, it's just so nice and comfy in here. And then you add that stuff like the curve control and like the road scanning feature, and it's just so nice. I mean, you can see that Mercedes, they've been building the mid-size, we said in the intro, they've been building mid-size luxury crossovers they're one of the longest. Them and BMW with the X5, and some would say, Lexus with the RX, they really are pioneers in this segment, and they really know how to do a mid-sized crossover. It's just great. It's just great in here. I can't really say enough about how easy this vehicle is to live with. It's expensive. It is expensive. We talked a little bit about the pricing before, and over $100,000, almost $110,000 is not a small amount of money. But it's full value for what you pay for, really. One thing I do want to mention, though, in terms of comfort, while I'm sure there is a lane centering feature, I, for the life of me, can't figure out how to get it to work. All I've got is the steering wheel vibration when it senses you're about to leave your lane, and if it really senses you're about to leave your lane, it mashes on the brakes and steers you back on line, which is not that comfortable. I'm sure there's a lane centering system in this for $107,000 or whatever it is. There better be, but I just can't seem to figure out how to get it to work. If I activate cruise control, we're going to activate cruise control right now. So there it is. We're going to do this. We're going to do that, and we're going to set it to that. So activated cruise control. That keeps me centered in my lane. That's fine. But except for, and then of course it's telling me to put my hands back on the wheel, and so it should be. But that is the only way I seem to be able to get it to work. Oh, there was a railroad crossing. That one I didn't feel. I don't know. That's so incredible how smooth this is. I can't get that lane centering feature to work. It's not. That's really the only issue I have with the onboard driver aids here. Everything else is right on. The cruise control, adaptive cruise, it creeps to zero, all that great stuff. I love that feature about new Mercedes. They have a fantastic cruise control system, but that for some reason I just can't get the lane centering to work from not in cruise control. So that's a bit strange, but it is a small nitpick. This is as perfect, you have to say, as you're probably going to get in this segment. Mercedes sells a lot of GLEs. They sold a lot of MLs back in the day. There's a reason for that, and they've kept it going here with this 2020 GLE 450. This is a really good vehicle. It's great. It's fantastic. Thanks for tuning into this review. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do. If not, no hard feelings. You can also follow me on Twitter at DanTheWheelman and on Instagram at DanTheWheelman as well. But that's it for this review of the 2020 Mercedes-Benz GLE 450 4MATIC. And until next time, sayonara, folks. Go Canucks, go!